Okay, hello everybody. I hope all is well today. Hope you're having an amazing day. If it's day where you are, and if it's night, good evening. And hello, hello, hello. Alrighty, now today this video is going to be about mistakes you make when you have a business idea. And I find this very often than not when I am approached by people and clients that want to get their idea out there in the world, and these are some of the mistakes that they're making, and we straighten them out, but they're mistakes that I want you to avoid making. But before we get into talking about this, my name is Sandy. They call me Biz Strategist Sandy, and I am here to help you to develop and grow an idea, to help you market it, to help you get your administrative pieces to your business. And that's going to be the meat and potatoes of you getting loans, you getting grants, you getting government contracts, you doing business in a great way, and you're setting a brand that's above bar none, and some of the other things that comes with business. But this is what I do want to talk about today. So before I go any further, and I do this sometimes, so I'm going to get this together here. Ah, already get my speaker here so I can hear myself. Yeah. Okay, so I can hear myself better. Now, let's go ahead and begin. Now, the first mistake, and this is here from dealing with my clients and seeing this out here in the business world. I want to talk about these things. So I don't want you to make them, because you don't need to waste time now. Okay. There's so many opportunities before the pandemic was out that it's been kind of weaved in since this new administration has come into office. And there are, I think, a lot of tools and a lot of programs and opportunities out there. A lot of you just don't know about either. And so we'll talk about a few of those in this video, and then I may do a part two. It all depends on how far I get with this, because I don't want the video to be too long. I want you to be able to consume the information and get what you need to get out of it. Now, the first mistake that we're going to talk about is the first mistake when you have a business idea. This is one of the things that you do for as getting your business established. You are not thinking about all of your industry specifics. What do I mean by that? I mean kind of doing your research on what's the trends, knowing what direction this business is going to go in the next 3, 4, 5 years. Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of things that it's been a fad and been a trend too as well, that it's been around a little while, but I don't believe it's going to go in the direction that a lot of people think it may go. And one of the businesses that I'm thinking about is Airbnb. And there's a lot of talk. I've been reading up on a lot of that information in journals and in also, just financial magazines and people that are talking about it, listening at the news and what's going on in the real world, those that have the information that we're going to talk about in a minute that you need to be knowing about too as well. And well, you need to find your sources from as well. If you're going to be out here in the world of business and taking your idea to the next level, you have to get away from the celebrity gossip and whatever. If that's not a part of your business, stay away from it. But if it's a part of what you're doing, like if you're in it, you got a business and you're dealing with entertainment, by all means, read it every day, all day, sometimes half the night. Okay. But now also researching your industry and finding out more about your industry is going to be, like I said, it's going to take a little time. You need to know about the trends that's going to be a part of your business. You definitely want to see where they are going. Because like I said, some businesses can be here for a year, 2, 3, and they're not sustainable. They're not here long term. And then you may think about, hey, I'm going to use this business and I'm going to make money and build me a house, but you want something sustainable. That's why if a lot of you know this, a lot of you may not, but I'm going to tell you this here. Just like when you're getting ready to start a business and you got a NAICS code and you go into the bank, they tell you there's certain businesses that the bank the banks don't really look at as sustainable businesses. And so you really don't get a favorable or high score in, let's say, for instance, if you're getting a business loan for them, right? And one of them is kind of like real estate investing. And there's like, I think certain gambling. And if you have those kind of businesses and things like that, you pretty much are not going to get any business funding for those. And some of them scale, they have different scoring numbers, and may like real estate investment maybe a little bit higher than versus something in gambling, and there's a few more others and things like that. So you're not going to get, oh yeah, and I think a lot of the, what you call it, might be certain things in the stock market too as well. So although that's a totally different thing, but if you got a business idea and you just going strictly into business for that, try it. You won't get far, especially not with getting business loans for it anyway. So that's something that you need to definitely make sure that you are up on and you're on top of. Okay. Okay. Now, like I said, the life cycle of your industry is so important. So just keep in mind whether it's going to have, keep in mind, these is a few things that I definitely wanted to let you know, that if it's going to have rapid growth, if it's going to be, what's this maturity of it, the extended time, 2 3 years. It has to be longer than that if it's going to be something that you're going to look at and you're going to say, okay, this is the long term. You want this business to be around for a long time, right? So you got to understand that that's going to be very, very important about your business idea, right? And there are ways that you can find out this information. There's ways that you have to research and study your market, okay? And having, definitely, for is having a NAICS code, like I mentioned earlier. That's going to be very important. A NAICS code is called, they call it the North American Industry Classification System. And that is, they just keeping what it is, they're just keeping a count of what kind of businesses are developing or the ideas are being, launched in the United States. And they used it for, federal agencies and all things like that. They just have to keep up with what's going on, especially in the United States. Now, other countries probably, I'm sure, have a whole entire different way of doing business this way, but the United States, this is what we do over here in the US of A. Okay, now, and the trade, and the trade associations, that's one of the ones that you definitely want to make sure that you research and have a value, learn about what's going on in your industry, because it's going to help you too to know about, there's some complementary, businesses in with your idea. There's going to be some complementary other businesses that's going to be somebody that you can line up with later on, for as even, collaborating with, and then marketing too as well, and finding out, this will help you in your marketing game. Because once you're doing your marketing, you definitely want to know the interests of people that you're targeting. And so knowing about other industries is going to help you with that, right? Okay. And then also certain things that's going to be very important, for us, the risk management, the risk of your business, the risk of what the idea of that you're embarking on, and what other kind of, if there's going to be some kind of, guidelines that you're going to have to follow through with the FDA, FDA, and all those kind of other environmental protective agencies. So that's so important too. You'll be surprised that certain businesses that you start, that you may have to get other approvals, federal agency approvals, not just getting an LLC and just going and getting your business license and getting your state, having your county giving you license. Some of those may require some other things. So you have to research the industry that you're in, and especially if you're not already a part of it or you're not already in the industry. Like for instance, like if a nurse can go, like for instance, of a nurse industry, a nurse know that she can't just start a business without having some kind of licensing and some kind of certifications on certain things that she may or he may want to do in addition to just patient care, right? So you get what I'm saying. And even in the beauty industry, just like with us, there are certain things that we have to do. We have to go by the board of the state that we're living in and find out what go to their Secretary of State page and find out what they require of you or me doing business in their state, right? Because you're the boss to a certain extent. You're not the boss over the guidelines of being able to run enterprise in a particular state, or the state you stay in. So, mistakes that you make when you have a business idea. So these are some of the things that, you have to take into account when you're out here living your dream. All right. So it's good. It's a good thing. It's all good. Now, next thing we're going to talk about is going to be that targeting that market. Targeting marketing. Oh, target marketing. Man, this is a big one, and this is a few layers that we're going to talk about. So buckle down and bear with me. But you are going to benefit from this in so many ways, because it's going to help you. Now, this is probably what we have to go into another day or part two or whatever on this, because this is the area where you're going to have so much. It's going to reward you, and it's going to benefit you so much, because the order for you to do great in business, you're going to have customers. And in order for you to have good customers and clients, or whatever we want to call them, you're going to have a target, right? You're going to have a target. And look, you can't be out here talking to everybody and thinking you're going to serve everybody, because you're not going to serve everybody, because everybody don't want and desire and need what you have, right? So okay, so let's get that clear. And then some of the things that I think you need to be very particular about, just really give it some serious thought about, is going to be how are you going to position yourself in the marketplace? How are you going to let the people know, brand yourself? When I say, set your position, in the marketplace. And who are you going to sell to? Are you going, if you sell an item, who are you going to sell to? Are you going to sell wholesale, retail, consumer, or B2B? How are you going to do it? Are you going to do a little bit of all of them? That's not bad either, but you need to start somewhere. You need to start with maybe one or two. You don't want to try to do all of them at one time. And this is why I talk to you about your business model, your business plan, business model, business plan. All of that is all into one. So that way you can methodically set out, and then you can be keyed in on the information that you need to, convey, or the way you need to set up your marketing campaign. So you got to have a clear focus and a clear laser focus on this. Okay. And a lot of this information that I'm talking with you guys, remember that I do show you step by step. If you get in any of my classes, make sure that you come in and be ready to learn, be a part of the family. You can text Push the Dream to 833-247-6465. You can text Push the Dream to 833-247-6465. And that way you'll be able to know when I'm giving classes, or if I'm giving you any kind of free information, or, any kind of books or guides, or something like that. So I do that. I do that to the family that's already a part of me, because I know that's what you want. And I'll give it to you when I put things out like that. So we have fun over here. So join us, okay? Alrighty. I love people that I work with, because we formed a good relationship, and all of them are just they're so comical, because they have a lot of stuff going on. We talk about a lot of things. I like to I really like to see what's going on in my clients' world. So we have fun, and what we talk about. It don't go anywhere. All righty. Next thing about this targeting your audience, or targeting the people that is going to do business with you, so where you won't waste money out here when you run ads, and when you're talking to people, and even too, you won't be wasting time to just saying, oh man, I got crickets everywhere I go. Or people don't want to hear what I'm talking about. You want to be around like-minded people, and you want to be able to assist those that you can assist, right? So now, the next thing is knowing, like I just said, how big is your target market? Knowing that. And there are ways that we talk about. I'm going to give you a few. Knowing your target market. Like I know I've constantly repeated this. It's a repetitive thing I always talk to you about, and I always tell you it's just finding out Google Trends. I always tell you about Google Trends. You can find a lot on Google with Google Trends of your target audience, because especially by Google being one of the biggest search engines out there, and everybody's, oh, let me Google this or let me YouTube this. Well, Google owns all of that, right? So that data, just like Facebook has data, TikTok has data, Instagram has data, LinkedIn has data, Snapchat has data, and whatever. It's a lot other things out here have data. The forums have data, podcasts have data, Amazon has data. Let's see, who else? Audible has data. The networks have data, television for television networking, and I'm going too far. I'm telling you a little bit too much. But anyway, you get the drift. There's data. Data is all around you. I know years ago when I was in college, and I they was talking about this, talking about data was going to be a big business, and now I see why they said data mining was going to be big business. And it was because of the marketing aspect, because everybody wants the data, everybody wants to know what's going on, because they want to sell to you, right? They want to sell to you. And it's not, and then too, they want to kind of know where they need to be, where they need to do a seminar, where you need to do a workshop, where what you need to be talking about, what's going to be going on in the next 10, 5 years. Everybody, this information I'm telling y'all today, everybody uses it that's in business. And everybody maybe have some specific tactics that they use, but everybody is doing it this way. So it don't make you any difference when you got a business idea and you need that business idea to just get out there to the people and to the world and to the ones that you needed to get out to, right? So, okay, now the next thing is knowing this is one thing that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but it's necessary. Knowing about the money, the income. What is the ability that your clients have to pay you for your services? I'm not saying you need to come down on your prices because of they can't pay you. No, you got to know, who am I going to be targeting? Because if I'm targeting someone that can't afford my prices, well, then that is a big problem too. Because either they're going to, somebody going to starve, or somebody's not going to be profitable here, whether it's you going to be giving away stuff, eh, you know, and then is somebody you're gonna be giving away where information, or creating a product or service that is going to be, you're not going to break it. You do more, you do less, you do just the bare minimum, meaning break even, and you're not making a profit. You won't last too long. And then the person that's giving you services, that's using your services, and they're not, say for instance, they're not, they're barely getting by themselves, or they just really can't afford your price point, and then they purchase it anyway, and then they go and robbing Peter pay Paul, and they using a charge card when they know they shouldn't be using, because they really wanted to buy your product because, oh, your product is going to help them. And I don't believe in somebody purchasing something from me and they struggling at the same time. I don't believe that. I want you to do business with me at ease. And there are a lot of people out here and a lot of marketers out here that tell you, oh, and they call you names if you don't purchase. Oh, you lazy, you don't want to do business, or oh, you just want to spend your money somewhere else, and oh, you can't do, you ain't gonna never make it, and all this stuff. BS. No, you don't want that kind of energy in your business. You don't want desperate people doing business with you. You want people to do business with you because they want and they find your product or service is going to be what they need, and they're in the position to do it, or they're in the position to spend money with you. This is why you need to target the right people when it comes down to the income level and the availability of the availability to pay you for the services that you are going to give them, or for the product that you are going to give them. Excuse me. Oh boy, should have brought me some water. But anyway, let's go on to a few more. Now, the demographics is going to be another one with the target and audience. And I want you to look at this a different way. And it's going to be, you probably never thought about it. You've never thought about it a couple of these ways. So Finding out the demographics is just the location, the size, the sex, the age, the marital status, or the educational level of, the demographics is not just only the location. It's more than it's a combination of those, right? And then some people kind of like intertwine that and say this is your archetype that is going to be a part of the demographics, which is true, which is good, and just like I said earlier, the demographics, about the income level and the ability to pay you is kind of intertwined in all of this too. But then there are certain behaviors that these demographic, let's say for instance, there's certain behavior when you're determining a location. Certain behaviors is in certain locations. So you got to think about that. Certain people, when we come down to like interest, when you're running an ad, let me just say this: when you're running an ad, it talks about the interest of a person, the interest of your target audience, right? So the location of a person, 9 times out of 10, not trying to stereotype anybody, but people that live in different locations, they like different things, they do different things, they like different, they go to different places, they may do some people that live in certain locations, they may like to entertain all the time. And then you got another group of people, they may like to go to baseball games and do activity with their children. They may be married. You may have more married people living in certain households in certain areas. You get what I'm saying? So those things that you need to know about too as well. And these are the mistakes that when you have a business idea, these are things that you're probably not thinking about. And this, it's not too hard to build your buying base when you get to this point. That's what I'm saying. It's really not. Because when I laser down, I'm working with a client now that I'm doing some, Facebook ads for them now with what they're working on, and we're targeting. We did so well with their targeting. Let me tell you, I spent less than average. It was average 15 cent to 20 cent on that particular demographic. I think it's, the target audience that I picked for them. Well, guess what I end up doing? 10 cent. So it was 10 cent per click, not 15 to 20, because I targeted so well till it was under 5 cent cheaper or 5 cent better than, oh Lord. And the clicks were about, I think they were about like 10%, I think, which is good. And I ran it for a 7-day stretch, and it did extremely well. And they got some calls because I think I had them called. Yeah, they got calls from the target market that I set out to give them. So, whoo, I was so happy that because I lasered down on it. So this stuff I'm telling you, it works if you work it. Okay, work it now, work it. Okay. Now, also back to the demographics part that we're talking about, and we're talking about, like, for instance, like if you're going to do B2B with someone, knowing the company size of the demographics, or whomever you're going to do business with. So knowing these things about that too, in the sex, male or female, who are you going to target? You want to be targeting males for pantyhose. I'm just using that as an example. You won't be doing that. So you get you understand what I'm saying. So know your target market, know who buys your products really, and know the age group that buys your products as well. Knowing that who you can find all this information out. You need to know this information. Don't be trying to guess, because like I said, data mining is for real these days. Data mining is all kind of ways that you can data mine. So if you be a part of the community and the family, you get it, because I've created videos and things like that about this information. So I just didn't put it on social media, but I have it in the vault of my courses and things like that. So if you want to know how that's broken down, you can be a part of the family and find out about that too as well. And then also, let's think about marital status, being whether this person is single, widow, divorce, and uh just single again, and all these kind of things. So knowing that will make a difference too, because a divorcee probably is a little bit different than a person that is, single and has never been married before. The thought process is a little different, and everything else is a little different too. So you got to think about all of this. Their interest is different. They've been through certain things in life. They may just want to get them a cold glass of wine sometime. And also, say for instance, if you Sometimes people that have been married, they like to, their leisure is a little different. They may like some wine. So you may get on some wine. Wine might be an interest that you put in your parameters for. It all depends on how the business correlates with what demographic you're looking for. Okay. So that's another thing too. So I'm just giving you this is just one of the things, but it's so many things to consider when you are targeting your audience. And so anyway, that will help. And I think we're going to stop on this last one here, but demographics going to be, no, I think I may need to go ahead and finish all of this. Okay, it's going to be educational level. Now, certain people, as we know, college, let's say for instance, high schools, if you're high school, just went for as high school, they think on a different level. Then as you're getting into maybe trade school, they're thinking on a different level because they're doing different things and their mindset is totally different. Now, somebody that's have maybe 4-year college degree, they've done some things, they've had a little certain discipline in them. Some, because you can find some educated fools out here. I'm not talking about everybody. Well, I'm trying to call nobody fool, but you get what I'm saying. You can find some people that's in those categories that have a different outlook on life, and then you have your master's degrees and your PhDs and things like that. So all of these, and they're into different organizations, they're doing different things, they're into different outreach and those sorts of things. So just keep in mind, and when you intertwine all of these other things together, like I said, the location, the sex, size of the company that they're dealing with, or the age of the marital status, and then you can narrow it down to your target market or your target audience. So these things need to be taken into consideration, and this is some of the mistakes that you make when you have a business idea. You're really not thinking on the level that you can maximize and you can expand, your buying base. Just don't give up on, hey, you don't think your idea is feasible, because I'm sure if God put the idea into your mind, into your heart, into your spirit, there's a target out there for you. Don't ever forget that. Okay. All right. I'll say now, let's see. And I think I kind of touched on this here. I did touch on like more of your lifestyle, like what a person does in their leisure and what you want to do with, your time, and where do they live, what side of town, the area of the location, whether they live, and then the cities and the state, and then talking about location. When it comes down to the area, the certain cities do different things, finding out what location, what climate. You wouldn't try to sell ice cream to someone that's going to live in Alaska or somewhere like that, because they pretty much don't want that. You want to do that kind of stuff in hot climates, the cliche things like that. So those are also some things that you need to keep in mind. And then, like I said, also the habits of people, because whatever habit these a lot of people like, the habits of something, habits, what the saying, they say habits are hard to break. Well, habits may be hard to break, but that's pretty much where you're going to find the people that is interested. So you need to know what your demographic is, what's your avatar. We're going to say your avatar, what your avatar's habit is. And I'm willing to bet you, if you find out what their habits are, they will be right there. So when you get ready to do your marketing campaign, they're right there in that little habit, parameter, what that you have researched and you've come up with. Okay. Alrighty, so that's where we're going to stop today, and I want you to know we're going to do a couple of more. This is going to be a series for you here. We're going to make a series out of this one here, I think, because there are a lot more things that I do want to tell you about, but mistakes you make when you have a business idea. And I'm gonna give this series a name, but I definitely want you to know this. Please keep this in mind, and don't give up on your vision. Don't give up on your business idea. Just be intentional, be specific, and get this together before you get out here in the world and try to make it happen, and then get out there halfway and then you give up because you're not really mentally ready. But be consistent with everything you do. Make sure that you are living according to the purpose that you were created here to do and to be. and keep moving forward. Don't close your ears, stop up your ears from the negativity, the naysayers, and all of those things. And you're going to reach your goals in life if you just continue to be consistent. Okay. All right. And I'll see you guys on the next video. And let's see you. We're going to do this in a series, and we're going to talk more about some of these mistakes that you make when you have a business idea, because I don't want you to make these mistakes. I want you to be great in the world. Okay. All righty. Bye-bye. And I'm Biz Strategist Sandy. Don't remember to get on the text list if you want to be a part of some of the courses and the trainings and the webinars too, because I do that. Sometimes I do a pop-up webinar. So you get on the list and I give you text message. Text push the dream to 833-247-6465. Okay. All righty. And I'll see you in the next video, and you have a marvelous day. Bye-bye.